stream isn't ending. I'm still a noob.
Swag to the one. My very fine brethren. Welcome to the Blackout Racing League. Welcome to week 5 of season number 16. How are we all doing? It's good to be here on this Monday evening. The time has just struck the 8 o'clock mark in the evening, which means only one thing. The heat of competition is beginning to ramp up. It's getting a bit uncomfortable. The tension is palpable. But where are we today? You might be asking, where on earth are we going? Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to Las Vegas. That's where we're going. It's a sprint race at Vegas, followed by a 50% race and short qualifying at the Japanese Grand Prix. So we'll have plenty of shenanigans to look forward to, and plenty of close racing. It's high stakes. Top 2 in the championship. Milo still leads the championship. However, it's not all set in stone. It is not even slightly set in stone, because breaking the rocks underneath Milo's feet to make things very unsteady, it's Mr. Terziak. He's only 4 points behind. 4 points! That's all that separates them, and rather conveniently, it's a Ferrari and a McLaren fighting for top honours in this Blackout Season 16. At least, so far it is. It's just rather poetic. What can I say? Here's my absolutely monstrously gorgeous avatar. I mean, if you could ever marry an avatar, you would marry that. Maybe my nose game has to be improved slightly. Listen, I'm working on it, ladies and gentlemen. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was my schnozzer. Equally, though, he is a beautiful boy. And guess who made this beautiful boy? It's Mr. Magico, the current Mercedes driver and also my husband. Betrothed to me in many ways, but also in art. Poetry in motion. I look unbelievable. He made this, and also this, which I showed at the beginning, which I'm just going to play off as the fact that I showed it because Magico's just that good of a graphics man, and I absolutely adore him. So go and follow him if you haven't already. Now, here's a little bit of a disclosure moment. There's not that many people racing tonight. I know. That is quite shocking to hear. I know. There's only 8 people that are going to... Actually, no, stand corrected. It'll be 9 people. Stark is actually racing. He's having some ankle problems. So if he has a bit of a stinker this week, we know why. And I do not blame him for 1 second. Me, on the other hand, I was debating whether to turn this 9-strong grid of Blackout drivers into a 10-horse affair. I'm still debating whether to do that, but I thought I'd watch Vegas, because who doesn't want to watch Vegas? Because it can only go well in Las Vegas. Now, obviously, nothing meteoric happened over this weekend. Just a Formula 1 race, really. I heard that Lando Norris and Verstappen fought for the win. It was a clean race. Oh no. Max Verstappen and Lando Norris crashed. To be honest, you could see it coming from a mile away. I mean, well, it sparked much debate in the Blackout community. And I, as a true Twitter Formula 1 fan, ignored all context and said what I thought in the moment. Yeah, I knew what I was doing. I'm kidding, I was a bit of an arsehole, I apologise. But let's have a look through the incident now. Let's kind of break it down, in my opinion. In fact, more than that, here's me. Here's me. How are we all doing, everybody? It is a bit dark. That bulb's broken, which normally illuminates my face even more from this side. However, you're going to have light and shade, because that's very much what this race was at the Austrian Grand Prix. A big battle, obviously, between Landinium Norris and Maximilian Verstappen. Let's talk about, firstly, because I think Verstappen probably should have won that race easily, but Red Bull gave him the slow pit stop. Or maybe he wouldn't have won it easily, because Lando Norris then proceeded to absolutely reel him in. And the big fish was almost there for the taking. And then it all sort of got off the boil slightly. He did what he did in the sprint, which it's not overly adventurous. I mean, it was on. Equally, though, he just outbraked himself. So, a bit desperate. He could have waited a little bit more, done something a bit more crafty. Second time through, he did exactly the same thing, but this time sending Verstappen off the track. He got a penalty, by the way, for going off the track, even though he gave back the position, which I thought was slightly interesting. But anyway, dive bombed again. This time he did stay on the track, but forced Verstappen off the track. Again, a little bit desperate. I get why he did it, and I'm glad he's confident enough to give it a go. But equally, he did not make the move, and Verstappen got the lead again. The third time he tried something, he sent Verstappen defending to the inside, and I thought, this is it. This is where Lando Norris cooks. He's actually been quite crafty here. But Verstappen forgot what a straight line was, and so he pincered Lando Norris. And I thought that in itself, I mean, 9 times out of 10, that sort of contact probably doesn't inherit either driver damage, which is just, it sucks, really, that it happened to both of them. But equally, Verstappen moved in the braking zone. He moved across, didn't leave a car's width. And that was sort of clear-cut for me. But it's like, it's not... I mean, listen, Lando has every right to go for it. I think Verstappen was just too aggressive. That's my opinion. That wasn't the worst of it, actually. What I thought was worse was Verstappen forcing Lando onto the grass out of sheer frustration afterwards, which really isn't on. You can make contact, you can get frustrated, but pushing drivers onto the grass because you made a bit of contact and you got a puncher is just really childish. There's no room for it, in my opinion. But in parts, they were both to blame. In parts, I think Lando was desperate. I thought what he did the third time when he went to the outside, that probably would have been the move that won him the race. And he was smart about it that time. He actually made Verstappen defend the inside. He would have got a better exit. He had DRS. That was the moment. That was the moment where he would have won the Austrian Grand Prix. Obviously, didn't happen like that. Verstappen, I mean... I don't know. I don't know what to say about Verstappen, really, because there's no question about it. He's a great driver. He just has 1 in 100 moments now, because hardly anyone can catch him. But he has 1 in 100 moments where he's racing side by side with someone and it just goes off the boil, which really sucks. It really, really sucks. But make no mistake about it, he is still a fantastic driver, and that is all you need to know. Ladies and gentlemen, we are preparing for the sprint. I'm going to go silent, and I'm just going to let the tension build. I'm going to let you build your own tension. Yeah. That's quite threatening, isn't it? It's lights out and away we go for the sprint race. Oh my god, what a start from Buck 57. Big Swimmers in second, Magico's in third. Of course, being Blackout, it's a reverse grid sprint race. Starkdo on the move, he's up to P5. There's a yellow flag and Tim's round. Tim Alele spins round at turn number 2. No idea if contact was made. I can only presume that it was, because Terziak has dropped significantly backwards, but it's Buck 57 at the front of the pecking order, with Big Swimmer in second, Mr. Magico in third, Buck 20 in fourth, Stark in fifth, J-Lane in sixth. Oh no! J-Lane's now in seventh and he's in the wall, and so Dirkleton was caught up in that incident as well. And it's going absolutely down the drain for the pair of them. Tim Alele, though, will have some friends down in P9, and luckily for him, he has no damage. So that's pretty good going. Onto the big back straight. Past the Mick Schumacher's Cruises sponsorship. I mean, let's see what kind of profound effect the slipstream will have as we head on board with Mr. Magico. Burning the battery. He's gaining on Big Sam. Gaining on Big Sam. Still gaining on Big Sam. Pulling to the inside of Big Swimmer. Down the inside of Big Swimmer. And Magico can't get the move done. Big Sam, great on the brakes and just about fends off the mighty Mercedes, who is on a charge and still piling on pounds and pounds of pressure under the Qatar Airways sponsorship. Pulling to the inside, thinks about it, but has a little lift off. It's another yellow flag, and J-Lane's had a significantly bigger problem. A much bigger problem. He now has no front wing at all. Correction, he does have some front wing, but it's not the full complement. And so in this 6-lap sprint race, we have to resort to the pit lane. Stark's the man on the move, though. He strapped his ankle in, but it's not stopping him being racy. Fainting to the inside. Oh no! Buck 57's round! Into the wall! What was such a promising start has been completely nullified. And the Red Bull driver reversing almost into the path of Dirkleton. Resets it. And is that a safety car? Is that a safety car? No way is that a safety car. It actually might be a safety car. I cannot believe this. Are you telling me I think it's a virtual safety car. We're fine, ladies and gentlemen. Big Swimmer is in P1. You can't write scripts this good. My husband is in P2. Ladies and gentlemen, this could be an absolutely historic time in the Blackout Racing series. Good grief. And Timalele and Buck 57... well, we're playing games with the yellow flags, but it's because Buck 57 has gone straight on into the runoff area. A little bit of sightseeing. Oh, no! J-Lane with a drive-through penalty for speeding on the Vusk. And we go into... oh, no! Where's Magico? Oh, no, it's not Magico. He's had a big slide, though. Where's he gone? He's hit the wall. Magico has made a slight nudge with barrier. It's not got him out. Well, it's not taken his front wing off, which is good news for him. But it's disastrous for the Mercedes driver. Was staring down the barrel of the shotgun of slicing Big Sam out of the way. And now he's staring down the barrel of not the top three, but P4 instead. And Mercedes are 4th and 5th at least. So at least they're neighbourly on the track. But even so, Big Swimmer. What an opportunity this is. Just under 4 tours of the Las Vegas circuit to go in this sprint race. And there is the best chance yet for Big Sam to garner a win in this racing league. Good grief. While all this is happening, he's got a 3.5 second gap now. Big Sam, ladies and gentlemen, is cooking. Although Stark got a great exit out of that corner, so we'll have to wait and see. DRS enabled on this lap, though. And where there is a flap, there is, well, a munching of the gap. And that's the best I've ever managed to come out with that analogy. As illustrated right now in front of your very retinas by Mr. Terziak, who, by the way, congratulations to him, sent me a message on Discord. I forgot to reply to it. I'm really sorry. But he actually won a championship. And that's given him all the hunger and impetus he needs as he breezes past the Williams driver into P2. And now with just over 3 laps to go, the chase is on for Terziak. And that... oh, Magico's back into P2? I don't even know what just happened. Did Terziak outbrake himself or something? I don't even know what just happened. Magico's got the fastest lap of the race. Let him cook. Let him cook. Oh, never mind. Timalele's got it. Well, I was going to say, Magico, he's chefing off the track and also now chefing on the track, which is a double meaning. I'll let you figure out. I'll let you figure that one out in great style. But goodness gracious me, we have a race on our hands. But there's a yellow flag and there's an Aston Martin in the weeds. It's Dirkleton. And, well, there's a lot of drama and spinnage in this Las Vegas Grand Prix sprint race. However, the gaps have sort of stabilised. Although, Stark v Terziak round 2. It is not over yet. Stark has been charging up his Duracell. Terziak's been trying to loan out some interest, courtesy of his sponsors. But well, who's going to come out on top? And, well, with DRS, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. I've thought I was going to be able to break a 4th wall with this. I'm sorry. I'm not going to break a 4th wall with this. Here comes Stark with DRS. A little bit of battery deployed, but even so, I mean, all you need is the outside depiction of absolute demolition as Stark destroys that gap, destroys the Ferrari man who outbrakes himself behind him. And Mr. Stark is back into P3 and sets his sights now on my husband. Stop it. Big Sam with a gap of 3.7 seconds and there's only 2 laps to go of this sprint race. Big Sam is going to qualify a net pole position for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Can you believe it? It's all about keeping yourself out of trouble. It's all about remaining consistent in these crucial moments. And Big Sam, crucially, every single lap has remained solid as a brick. Meanwhile, in other news, we have a Euros game going on. Portugal versus Slovenia. It's 0-0. Nothing's happened yet. Although some games have started, well, most games have started quite slow on the whole. Buck 57's got the fastest lap of the race. It's a 1 minute 34.3. It's crushing, but it is 8th. So it's a bit mushing. Big Sam with a gap still. He's remaining consistent with that gap. Magico keeping him honest. And had he not made that mistake earlier, then who knows what could have happened in this race. But Big Sam doing everything he needs to do. Stark versus Terziak, round 3, ladies and gentlemen. The triple threat, and Terziak wins that triple threat. And it's a smattering of T's. I can hardly keep up. The stutter is all too much for me to bear. But Terziak up into P3. And maybe can make a last lap lunge on Magico. Please don't, sir. Please do not. Magico's caught up by 4 tenths on Big Sam in the last part of this lap. Let him cook. He has to gain 3.3 seconds to potentially win this race. It could get interesting yet. Through turn 2, Stark v Terziak, I doubt is done, and Terziak's pushing extremely hard to try and get DRS on Magico. Can't do it on this straight. Stark feinting to the inside, thinking about a move, but not going for that move, rather sensibly as well. Just got to bide his time here. There's a long, long way to go, despite the fact it's the last lap. One of the most sizable laps on the Formula 1 calendar at Las Vegas. Still, the opportunities can come flooding through. They're running out of time, though, to catch this man. Magico pushing for life nor money. He's caught up by 6 tenths at the beginning of this lap. But it's not going to be enough. Like I said, that gap had to be 3.3 seconds caught up. And I don't think it's going to happen. We're going to watch behind Big Sam. He's onto the back straight. He's almost done it. He's done everything he needs to do and then some. Could claim his first win of season 16. Terziak with DRS on my husband. He's gaining in a slipstream. He's absolutely slurping up that slipstream and sives past Magico to take P2 at the death for Ferrari. He bided his time. It's not without mistakes, but he's... Oh, no! In the wall! Magico's barged his way through! Big Sam, though, has avoided all the drama, and Big Swimmer's done it! He wins the sprint at Las Vegas, and Stark claims P2 on the line! What an incredible drag race between those three! The Williams driver, patience, was certainly rewarded. And he claims second place. Magico will qualify P3 for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Terziak 4th, Timalele 5th, despite that first lap shenanigans. Buck 20 in 6th. Dirkleton will be next across the line. In P7, there he is. Still points on the board. Same for this man. Buck 57, and then finally, J-Lane in the Alfa Romeo. Unbelievably, despite finishing in the top 10, will score no points in this sprint. But crucially, they all still finished the race. And that is pretty good. Stark driver of the day. Well done to him. That got very tasty on the last lap. Goodness me. Your winner is Big Swimmer. Congratulations to him and AlphaTauri. Stark in P2 at the death. Even with an injured ankle, you cannot stop this man. Magico in P3. Terziak 4th. Timalele 5th. Buck 20 in 6th. Dirkleton in 7th. Buck 57 in 8th. And J-Lane rounds out our racing order and our grid order for the race. And just like that, the sprint race is done. We're off to the race. That's enough. Let's get on with things. Oh, never mind. My PC said no. Thanks, PC. Very cool. The Las Vegas Grand Prix. Here we are. As you can see, the Paddock Club on your screen is going mild. Actually, they're going so mild, no one's turned up. In Las Vegas, well, I was going to say, they say it's their bedtime in Las Vegas. Of course it isn't. It's Las Vegas. They don't sleep. They're party aminals there. Allegedly. They're also all broke. So what can we expect from this race then? Well, big swimmer. Well, he could well spring a surprise yet. Stark, despite his ankle absolutely being balked, is cooking beyond belief. Starting P2. And he could have every chance of also going for the win. Same for Terziak. Same for all of these drivers, actually. Nothing is ever set in stone in Las Vegas. You have to play your cards right. Luck has to be on your side. And we're going to find out who's riding their luck the best. 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go. And it's a good start from Big Sam. Wheel spin from Stark. And surely the AlphaTauri man, yes, will cut across into turn 1. Behind it's Dirkleton. And Buck 57 going side by side. It's Buck 20 and Timalele going side by side. And I tell you what, that's a lovely sweeping move. Round the outside for the McLaren driver. But Timalele's not done yet. Feinting to the inside. Buck 57 though attacks his Mercedes teammate. Down the inside. 2 Mercedes in 1 lap, I hear you say. Nay, make that 1 sector. But not this time. Magico is stout in his defence. He says, no sir, not today. I will help out Timbo, my teammate. And so he remains in P4. All 9 of them through the first sector safely. It's Big Swimmer, though, with the initial advantage. Starting on the mediums. Stark on mediums as well. We've got a bunch of soft runners behind. Going very aggressive as Buck 57 goes past Timalele. Timalele going backwards so far. That's exactly what he doesn't need to happen. But it is what's happening. Dirk and J-Lane will be keeping a watching brief on this. Like I say, never ever rule your race out in Las Vegas until it's over. Anything can happen. Stark, though, is going for the lead. Terziak, though, is going for one. Well, trying to improve his place twofold as he goes down the inside. Not just of Big Sam, but not of Stark. Stark keeps him honest, holds it round. And now it's Big Swimmer's turn to try and go on the attack. J-Lane, though, past Buck 57, who's made a mistake. Terziak, though, down the ins. Well, he was down the inside. I think Stark was actually trying to make a move. My apologies. Big Sam, though, goes through. Timalele's now up to P4 out of absolutely nowhere. What on earth has gone on? But Dirkleton now, side by side with Buck 20, and through he goes into P6. Delightful racing so far, and J-Lane now trying to turn, well, Buck 20's race even more of a downward spiral. Contact made! Buck 20's out of the race! Massive contact! Front left seared clean off! The contact was so severe it broke the sound barrier. As you can tell from my voice, somehow Buck 57's got a penalty out of that. I don't really know how, considering it was the contact with J-Lane that sent Buck 20 into the wall. And, well, discuss amongst yourselves, was it fair racing? Don't ask any Twitter fans on that one. Well then, safety car. That's just calmed proceedings down a little bit. Lap 2 of 18, a 9th of the way through this race. That is completely meaningless as a fraction and a statistic. But Big Sam was getting very racy there briefly with Mr. Stark. Perhaps feeling like he could take slightly less liberties with the Delta. Push Stark on a little bit. Pile some pressure on Terziak. And Stark is piling the pressure on Terziak, as you can see. And will they pit? Will they choose to pull the trigger? The answer is, in Terziak's case, yes, he will claim that free pit stop. Into pit row he goes, and so does Timbo and Dirkleton behind. And Buck 57. Maybe he can get that 5-second penalty removed as well. Yes, he can. That's good. Well, there you go. Safety car chivalry isn't dead. As you can see, hard tyres are replaced with hard tyres, and nose is replaced with nose. Would you believe it? Out of the pits he goes, and on we go. Lap number 3. Let's run through the running order so far. We have Stark in first, Big Swimmer in second, Magico in third, J-Lane _ in fourth, Terziak in fifth, Timalele in sixth, Dirkles in seventh, and Buck57 completes our running order. The only retiree, Mr. Buck20, after contact was made when he was side by side with J-Lane, front left into the wall. Actually looked like quite a violent impact, but as we know, the wheel tethers are a mentalist on this game. Speaking of mentalists, you're probably asking the question, when will we be on F124? That's a great question. I think next week. Don't quote me on that. I think next week it is finally happening. However, as we all know, equal cars aren't actually equal. The Alpine, despite notoriously being the slowest car at the beginning of the 2024 season, is somehow the fastest. So, I mean, that is a bit strange. That is a bit strange. However, we shall gloss over that for the time being. And let's consider what's going to happen on F124. Considering that equal cars are indeed unequal, how will we deal with this? Obviously, we can't predict, annoyingly, who goes in what pit box, depending on the team. We also can't predict things like, I don't know. I actually don't know. Whether that grid position will go garage position, sorry, will remain consistent. We have no idea. What we can control is the liveries of the cars. Perhaps depending on the teams, they will have the same liveries at least. Just so we know who's on what team, so we're all on the same page. Whether that means copying each other's livery and hue and saturation, whatever it is, settings. On the customizable liveries, we shall soon see. But it could be very spicy. But for now, for this one final time, we are on F123. Or maybe not the final time. Maybe next week will be the final time. I have no idea at this point. It's lap number 4 under the safety car. Already a sizable chunk of this race has been and gone. It's unbelievable. It's honestly unbelievable. Sitting here, watching the cars go around by the Las Vegas Sphere. Who actually woke up one day and said, "Do you know what I want for my city?" No, I don't want to cure world hunger. No, I don't want to I don't know, govern for sustainability. No, I want to put a massive F-off sphere in the middle of my city. So that was really a great utility item, Las Vegas, wasn't it? You can put emojis on it. Wow, that's cool. You can also make F1 drivers' faces look really funny. Great as a comic relief item. So there you go. If you want to be funny, just spend 100 million quid. Actually, it was probably even more than that. You can be funny without just... You know what, actually? Just be funny without buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of screens and sphere. Safety car in this lap. I'm fired up now. Here we go, guys. There's the Eiffel... Why is the Eiffel Tower in Las Vegas? Is blood lost? How did my man miss Paris so far? Anyway, disregarding that, also the palm trees. I think blood might be lost there as well. Although Las Vegas, actually no. Okay, no, I'll accept the palm trees. I'll accept them. I can't accept the Eiffel Tower though. That is quite a weird one. Stark dictating the pace then. We'll go on board with Big Sam. His next closest challenger, getting a bit of heat into the tyres. However, that might be serving as a distraction only to himself. He's waiting for Stark to pull the trigger, and he pulls it now. And we are back racing in Blackout. Terziak has got a great restart, sending it down the inside of J-Lane. J-Lane, though, using the momentum of the outside line. Terziak very aggressive on that outside. Sort of pinches the Alfa Romeo, but nothing aggressive about that later move. Just absolutely inch perfect. I say inch perfect. He was miles away from hitting Mr. Terziak. Do I mean Terziak? No, I don't. I mean Mr. J-Lane. What has happened to Mr. J-Lane is Tim Alele's now overtaken him, and it could get worse from there. But Stark immediately racing off into the distance. Big Sam trying to keep him within, well, his eye's image, which is probably what any one of the drivers would want to do, but it's Blackout. That doesn't always happen. Already, Stark outside of a second. Let him cook. Let him cook, and in fact, let him cook a croissant, because apparently France got lost. Into turn number whatever, who cares, it's Las Vegas, I don't. Through the left-hander, past Hotel Amusements Drinks Restaurant, that is the worst name for a restaurant I've ever seen, as we head down the back straight. No DRS, of course, being 2023 rules. Once we move on to F1 24, though, it could get very spicy. One lap, then the DRS flap can get activated. Dirkleton is absolutely plummeting down the field. Magico trying to look for a move. Weaving one way, deciding the outside line's more tasty. Thinking wiser of it, though, and deciding, you know what, patience is a virtue. And I'm inclined to agree. Based on my experience, I'm absolutely inclined to agree. Well thought out, my friend. Tim Alele's got past Terziak in the meantime. I don't know how I missed it. I'm sorry. Maybe Terziak made a mistake. Maybe Tim Alele just used his battery on the straight. But he can't have, because they're on about the same battery. Tim Alele's next target, though, is Buck 57. Goes around the outside of Jimothy Lane. That was a very, very nice sweeping move. Into the top 5. He finds himself. And now we go back to the battles at the front. Tim Alele is absolutely hassling and harrying the rear end of Big Sam. Into the left-hander, surely not going to try and go down the inside. He certainly thought about it, but thinks wiser for now. Look at that, though, taking just precision lines, cutting back one way and then the other, going for the better exit. Getting a great toe as they head up in towards the left-hander again, though. Just biding his time. That's what he needs to do. He doesn't need to be overzealous. That is what can kill races. Maybe in some ways, it's what killed Lando Norris's race. Sometimes it's not about when the move is done or what move is done. It's about how the move is done. And sometimes just waiting a little bit more can make all the difference. As him and Tim Alele, him and Terziak, good grief, I'm so out of it. What is going on? Terziak's also got through. That's what I meant to say. Big Sam thought about having a little nibble of that cherry again, but the cherry said no, and so we move on. And Buck 57 now could get all up in the business of the swimming big man up ahead, using a lot of ERS, gaining all the time, sending it round the outside, not only of Big Sam, trying to go past Terziak as well. Nothing doing in the end, just too much momentum, but he has gained the one position, and that is exactly what he needs. Meanwhile, here's Portugal. Rafael Leao was just fouled. It's still 0-0 against Slovenia. Who would have believed it? Who would you believe it? I certainly probably would, actually. Portugal haven't played that well. They played well against Turkey, but that was about it. Turkey have conceded a foul, though. It's a free kick to the Portuguesa. And Dirkleton with a 3-second time penalty. Oh, dear. That is not very good. Field hardly spread out, though, at this particular point. Stark still the leader, but for how much longer? You can almost say it's inevitable that Tim Alele is going to make that move. DRS enabled on this lap, I believe. As they now head past the DRS line. Yes, it is. And now we will see, not even using battery is Tim Alele. The German is absolutely flooring it and flying past the Williams driver into the lead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Magico flies past Dirkleton into not P7 because he broke very early indeed. Although Dirkleton with a little bit of a mistake, but Magico pays his compliments with a mistake of his own. And so that battle will tear on. Stark's not done though. Down the inside. He's going to try and send it on Tim Alele. Going to hold it as much as he can. Goes for the tighter line. Traction feels like the limiting factor. And it is the limiting factor. The rear end sliding about. Tim Alele holding the lead, but a great exit from Stark. DRS wide open, and he goes back through to retake the lead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Tim Alele was very late on the brakes from Tim, but not late enough Stark then frustrates the Mercedes driver for at least 1 lap more on his medium tyres. But remember, he has that pit stop to make. Ronaldo with a free kick just over the crossbar. Do you know what? He's had a free kick saved and a free kick that just skims the top of the bar. When the ball isn't rubbish like the Premier League ball, Ronaldo actually cooks on free kicks, just about. Slovenia going for a move, though. But what's more important than football is Formula 1. And, okay, that was a very nice pass from Ronaldo. Okay, right, Portugal might be cooking. Leao is a selfish man, and he's lost the ball. What an idiot. Timalele, though, will say thank you very much to Stark for allowing him to have DRS. Terziak weaving one way, switching to the other side, trying to make a move for the lead himself. But Tim defends it well. And so they're battling, and the games continue. On to halfway through the Las Vegas Grand Prix. And ladies and gentlemen, it's good news for Magico, because he is past Mr. Dirkleton. Stark again, not done yet, and actually forces Terziak to go defensive into turn 1. Buck 57, actually, keep an eye on him. Was in last, had a 5-second penalty, obviously got it removed in the pit stops during the safety car. Now, though, on mediums, which are 1 lap fresher than the hard tyres of Timalele and Terziak, and if he's kept them up to scratch, there's no reason why he can't be a strong contender for this win. Big Sam also keeping up very nicely to this top 4 scrap, it must be said. Doing everything he needs to do. Through then, halfway through lap number 9, and Buck 57 is, well, thought about not waiting around. But remember, impatience certainly isn't rewarded, and he knows it. So he backs off, he takes his time. It's a DRS train now down the straight, and Timalele is going to be sweating buckets. Partially because in Las Vegas, it's very hot, usually. Although this race being in November, you might as well make the track out of snow. But Buck 57 is going to try and go for the move on Stark. Terziak, though, goes for the lead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Stark is trying to go for the move on Timalele. That was enormously late on the brakes, but a massive swapper. And Buck 57 says, thank you very much, Squire. I'll have that P3. Now, firmly in the wheel tracks and sucking up the slipstream of the Mercedes and Ferrari up ahead. And pinch me because it feels like real life again. Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull at the front. I would have said McLaren would have been there as well to properly make, well, truly top off the spectacle. But unfortunately, their only candidate in this race was shunted. Magico is up into P6. J-Lane made a mistake. I assume he must have, because Dirkleton has also steamrolled his way through. And what on earth's happened there? Buck 57 has taken the lead. That's what's happened. What on earth has gone on there? Terziak must have had a little scrap with Tim. They've both compromised themselves. Stark, though, without a front wing end plate. Damage on the Williams car. And whether he initiated contact or whether other tomfoolery happened, I have no idea. It's no consolation, whatever the case. And now Tim is absolutely harrying Terziak. In fact, giving his diffuser a little nudge. That was a bit rude. That was very rude. Big Sam, though, not done yet. Blood woke up this morning and said, I am him. And he's using DRS to affirm and assert that he certainly is him. Magico, though, is saying that he himself is him. To the outside of Big Swimmer. Trying to go for the gap. Choosing better of it. No! Trying to go around the outside, but nothing doing there. Stark plays it very wisely and doesn't get involved in that particular scrap, or there would have been a massive shunt. Magico with another chance, though. Down the inside he goes. He's got absolutely no battery left. Stark's spirit's been crushed meanwhile, and it resorts in pit row being visited. Big Sam, though, just ginormously late on the brakes. It's absolutely gargantuan from him. But Magico sweeps through, round the outside, and into P4. As Buck 57 now has lost P1. He was firmly up there, and now Timalele goes through to retake the lead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. It is all happening. I apologise if I seem slightly subdued. It feels like I am. You can blame hay fever. I've got a nice cool drink to keep me going. That's all you need. A nice cool drink. And testicles of tungsten. So it's roles reversed now. Timalele's been the aggressor with DRS. And now he might well be the regressor in terms of position. Because here's Buck 57. He's going to have DRS and it's academic already. By the time they even got to the DRS line, he was pretty much pushing and shoving Timalele down the straight. And now he absolutely soars through into P1 on lap number 11 out of 18. And it is all happening here. Magic goes up into P4 meanwhile. Go on. My husband going at it again here. Probably should have got P4 last season, although I overtook him on the last lap. I had a recovery drive to do. It was pretty bad. Big Sam, though, into the pit lane. Oh, no. Why is he? Oh, he hasn't pit. That's why. False alarm, everybody. I thought something spicy was happening. There is something spicy happening. Timalele's tried to go around the outside of Buck 57. And now it'll be the Red Bull driver's turn to go on the attack. He has absolutely no battery. Terziak does, though, and that's going to get very ugly. Terziak thinks so much better of it. And now Buck 57 retakes and re-inherits the lead. Terziak now has the outside for a brief and fleeting moment. But that moment evaporates away into the echelons of eternity. And the other, well, yet another chance goes a-begging. Magico, meanwhile, catches up 3 tenths in that middle part of the lap. Ladies and gentlemen, he could still win this race. Don't ever say he can't. He's my husband. I know he can. Lap number 12 of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. And guess what? There's going to be another swap for the lead. Here comes Timalele. DRS wide open. And that is as textbook as you are ever going to get. Right to the last piece of punctuation, the full stop is written, and when all things are said and done, Timalele has easily breezed through, back into the lead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. But again, this slipstream warfare, the DRS dueling, is, well, it could hold them up in terms of overall time, but also, just makes things a bit more spicy, doesn't it? Many people say the FIA were wrong. Oh, no! Start with a 3-second time penalty. Absolute devastation. Magico still holding down P4 for the Mercedes team. Buck 57 again, though, at the end of this second straight, through into the lead once again. He's loving that overtaking zone. Terziak sees more blood in the water as Timalele tried to go down the inside at the left-hander. That was extremely opportunistic. Didn't pay off on this particular occasion. But good to see how racy these drivers are. It's absolutely fantastic stuff. Magico, again, catches up a second just because of how hard the cars ahead are battling. Like I say, not only are they holding each other up, they could benefit the people behind them if they make contact, if they get too hot-headed behind the steering wheel. As my darling from Barking is flying along. He's not from Barking, he's from Wales. It's not even close. Why did I say that? Timalele's back into the lead, but Terziak's now got a chance. He's going to take that chance, grab that opportunity with both hands and strangle it to death. Through into the lead he goes. And the Ferrari man, who looked exasperated almost sitting behind the Mercedes and the Red Bull cars, finally had his chance and he wasn't going to let it go that time. Into the lead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and another lap ticks away and the time ticks down to decide who will be the main victor, crowned the king of the Las Vegas Grand Prix circuit. Would anyone actually want that title though? Let's be honest. Big Sam, though, let him cook. He's got the fastest lap of the race. An extra 3 points in the pussycat of the Blackout purse. That phrase almost got very interesting and fruity. Terziak just stretching his legs, gap at 6. Oh! Oh, no. Buck 57 with a 3-second time penalty. 3 drivers with time penalties now. I forgot to give my Clean Boy award out for the Qatar Grand Prix. And, well, there could be clean awards going on at this Grand Prix. Who knows? As Buck 57 gets past Tim Alele. Although Tim, I doubt, will be very disgruntled about that because he'll just get DRS. And then the battling will continue. Terziak's absolutely jumping for joy with his 1.4 second advantage. It's a great time for him. Magico now in DRS of his teammate. And that is going to pull him away from Dirkleton. Albeit he has DRS himself. But the Mercedes man growing in confidence more and more. Dirkleton, though, on the hard tyres, there should be some sort of a crossover at least in terms of tyre life as J-Lane moves past Stark with DRS assistance available to deploy. And look at, he's already with DRS assistance, pulls out 1.5 seconds, although maybe Stark slowing down more than actually expected, which could be a contributing factor. So it's not all it's cracked up to be. There is 3 minutes of added time for the Portugal-Slovenia game. But while that game has been, well, wallowing on at a whimper, this has been a ferocious, feisty fight all the way through for 15 laps, and it will continue as a feisty fight. Oh, Buck 57 made contact with the wall, and there was a front wing end plate, and yes, as you can see in front of your very retinas, Buck 57 without that end plate on the right-hand side. That's going to compromise the rest of his lap. And, well, hopefully he just keeps it together. We can't have 2 Bucks that toboggan out of this race. Luckily, that is not the case. Magico could be on for a podium, ladies and gentlemen. DRS open. I'm sure he'll know, as they're all in a Discord chat together. I'm sure he will know that Buck 57 has got damage. He's just going to bide his time and wait behind. And the moment will come. Buck 57 won't have that same purchase out of the corners, or will he? No, he won't. He's lost 3 tenths on that corner. My husband could get a podium. This could get very spicy. Just 3 laps of the Las Vegas Grand Prix to go. And with Milo not being here, which I absolutely forgot to mention, but that completely turns it on its head. Terziak has that golden goose right in front of him, waiting to be necked. And he's going to extend, well, not only take the lead of the championship after this race, so long as he doesn't bin it, please don't. But also, he's going to extend that advantage significantly. What was a 4-point gap before now will turn into whatever earnings he had in the sprint race. And also, well, it's 4th place in the sprint. He's already had the lead of the championship. Now he's going to extend that lead by 30 more points. 31 points will be the gap for the Ferrari driver. Unless they like, cut down the points total. I don't know. They might do, because there's only 9 people. But if they don't, then score for this man. Could get very spicy. Magico, though, has a great opportunity. And absolutely, well, it's as clear-cut of an opportunity as you're ever going to get. Buck 57 with damage. Magico with DRS. And only one can have that P3 spot. And my husband absolutely scorches through into the podium places. This is unbelievable stuff. I mean, Buck 57 had the time penalty anyway. But now, well, to get it on the track just makes it all the more sweet. And Magico is doing everything he needs to do on that front, but he's got to be careful. Buck 57 will want to have it on the track. It's all pride that's at stake in these final couple of laps of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Let's see what the first 2 corners are like. Magico significantly stronger because he has a full front wing. Probably mostly owing down to that, but also just a good line through there. Buck 57 again with DRS. Remains behind. He's not close enough to make a move. He's gone very wide and makes more contact with the wall. And that will seal it, surely. All that Magico has to do to claim P3 in this race is just keep his nose clean. He just has to drive round the track. But look at this. what looked like almost a surefire win for Terziak. That's certainly not the case, because Timalele is piling on the pressure. He has put on the afterburners and now has DRS at his disposal. Past the Nevada Casino, past the F1 banners, and who's the fastest one? Timalele with DRS. Absolutely gazumps Terziak. Moving through into the lead once again, but there is still one more lap of racing at this circuit. And what is by far the closest contest on the track. Imagine the fairy tale it would be if these two take each other out and Magico wins his first race. Imagine the fairy tale. That's the joy of Blackout. Anything can happen, and it usually does. Last lap then of the Las Vegas Grand Prix, on board with the chasing car of Terziak. Timalele slightly wide at turn 1. It will mean Terziak does get DRS, and that will be crucial for him. Just a little bit of a leg up to get closer onto the diffuser of the Mercedes car. Meanwhile, on the screen beside me, they're showing Ronaldo running absolute genius, but Portugal just not passing to him because they're stupid. But anyway, point is, Terziak now just half a second behind. Obviously, no overtaking opportunities unless a mistake was made by Timalele, which from what we've seen in this race, might well have been possible. These two absolutely foot to the floor, pedal to the metal. Who's made of the sturdiest stuff, though? A good run out of this corner is what you need. And the battery will be deployed. It's a better exit from Terziak. Tim is burning, no. He has to. He's got to do it. But the DRS, so powerful on this straight. Dirkleton has got past Buck 57 on track. A 4th place for the Aston Martin driver. Terziak with one chance. Does he go for it? Down the inside, he thinks about it. But no. The chance has slipped away. And there could be one chance yet, but no, just about a similar exit to Timalele. And after all is said and done, Timalele wins the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Terziak threw everything at it, but the Mercedes man was just too strong. My husband has a podium in the Blackout Racing League. He has a podium in season 16. It's 1 and 3 for Mercedes. And absolutely, well, I can't think of a positive adjective beginning with the letter C. I was going for alliteration. It's a monumental mauling of points, basically, in the constructors, and that's all you need to know. First and third, 30 points, plus 20 points, 50 points in one race for Mercedes. That is quite something. Holy moly. Timalele, you're, the game's driver of the day. Absolutely put on a show at the end of that one to ramp up to the back of Terziak. Executed the move when he needed to, and that is all she wrote in Las Vegas. Up on the podium then. Mercedes have 2 drivers there. A Ferrari in a German sandwich, which, given its German food, is bratwurst. It's a sausage sandwich, and Terziak will feel like he's been sausaged. He led most of that race towards the end anyway. The end stanza, it all seemed like the script was written in his favour, but the writers came along and said, no sir, not today. There is one more twist in the tail, which was very painful for my dog. However, more to the point, let's have a look at the results, because Timalele takes the full compliment in the main event. Congratulations to him. Also to Terziak and to Magico. Still, Terziak extends his championship lead significantly. So that is good news and good consolation for him. Big Swimmer ends up in P4 in the end in total points gained. However, it will be Buck 57 who gets P4 in the end. I didn't see the last move being made. I thought Dirkleton had it, but I was wrong. There you go. Dirkleton 5th, then Big Sam, J-Lane Stark, and unfortunately, Buck 20 was our only DNF. Lost his wheel at the very beginning of the race after contact with the Alfa Romeo driver, and that was the end of that. A rather sorry state of affairs in Las Vegas. And I'm glad we're moving on from Las Vegas, because any place that isn't France that has the Eiffel Tower in it, I can't trust. They even have a hot air balloon that is permanently strapped to the ground. It's absolutely useless. What is the point? But there you go, everybody. Race number 1 is down. And so we have to wait with bated breath, because next up is the Japanese Grand Prix. Pikachu's home race. The home race of the power supplier of Honda. Well, of the Honda. Of course it's Honda, because they're the engine supplier. I'm such a moron. My brain's not thinking 2 steps ahead of itself. George Russell in disguise. Oh, no. That was quite something. George Russell was a lucky man, by the way. Who would have believed it? Mercedes actually got a race win this season. You would have put every penny you owned that Mercedes wouldn't have won a race this year, but anything can happen in F1. And you know the rest. We're going to take a little bit of a break. There might be some clips, actually, to show you from certain drivers' perspectives. Who knows? If they do have them, and if they are listening, send them my way, and I'll have a good time reacting to them. But for now, let's have a little break, and then soon we will be on to qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix. Right, well, as it turns out, these guys don't mess around, as you can clearly see, because we're into qualifying already. Good grief, that was quick. That was the quickest turnaround, I think, just ever. Doesn't matter in what, it's a Guinness World Record for the quickest turnaround of all time. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix. A few things you need to know about the Japanese Grand Prix from last season of Blackout. In qualifying, who got pole position? It was a one-shot qualifying, but who got pole position?
It was me.
I know that's quite boring, isn't it? But then who won the race? Well, I got a drive-through penalty. And so did Timalele on lap number 3 because of the virtual safety car. So we had to do a massive fight back. But despite that, who won the race?
It was me.
It's genuinely the best race I've ever driven. Actually, apart from Brazil. Brazil was an even better race that I drove. I will eventually live stream it and we can all go through just how much of a great race I actually had. Because it was just ridiculous. For my last race of Blackout, all I'll say is, oh, that's somehow not invalidated. Codemasters, get your eyeglasses on. Or replace your guide dogs. I don't know which one. Through the Suzuka S's. Let's ride on board with Big Sam. Does he keep it flat? Probably. I don't know. I went on board too late. Into Degna 1. If you're feeling brave and go full throttle at Degna 1, definitely have to brake for Degna 2 though. Because otherwise it's a saucy meeting with Barry R. Into the hairpin again, in my opinion. Another corner where you can just carry so much speed into it. Just brake as late as you want. Normally the camera of the corner will sort you out on the way in. But through into the spoon curve. Don't spoon it off the track. That's probably why it was named. But that second curve, if you hit that, it can really unsettle the car. Big Sam counting his lucky stars and playing with fire. And the fire and brimstone is absolutely beautiful for him because he's still on his merry way with a purple Sector 2. The man who scored the 4th most number of points in the Las Vegas Grand Prix according to the Formula 1 point system. Whether it was the case in the Blackout point system, I don't know. In fact, it probably was anyway. But DRS across the line, it's the fastest lap. It's a 1 minute 28.8. And Dirkleton is next across the line on intermediates. I thought we outlawed the intermediate. Somehow he's under 5 seconds off Big Sam, though. Not a bad lap at all from Mr. Dirkleton. Fair play to you, sir.
I feel like I've seen this before in a series. Where have I seen this?
I don't know. But anyway, Buck 20 doesn't go across the line. Nothing happening so far in this qualifying session. All I know is that Big Sam, like factually, according to the logistics on your screen, he's the GOAT. Big GOAT 229. 229 constituting the amount of seconds he is ahead of the rest of the grid. That's slightly inaccurate because he is only just 4.8 seconds ahead. But, you know what I mean. You know what I mean, guys. Who will be next to pop the qualifying lesion? I actually really debated whether I was going to race in this Japanese Grand Prix because there was 9 people. There was a mixture of responses from... I've heard retired people get slower. To which I will say right now, I haven't got slower. If anything, I'm even faster. I don't know how, because I don't play the game nearly as much, but... maybe I'm putting less pressure on myself, who knows, but I promise you, I ain't lost any pace. That sounds quite threatening. Back to happy Blackout. The other thing... What was it I was going to say? Oh, there was the other side of the responses as well. Many people saying, do join... Well, I say many. One being Big Goat saying, do join in. My husband simply said, no! Like, almost as if it was a betrayal. Well, I apologise. I'm sorry if it seemed like a betrayal. That wasn't my intention, sir. Sebastian, he did indeed break many records during his F1 career. Thank you, Mr. Announcer. It's my job to run through the facts, though. Stay in your lane. Japanese Grand Prix this year. What happened in the Japanese Grand Prix this year? The answer is Max Verstappen won it. Back when the Red Bull was actually a dominant car. Then the rest of the grid caught up tenfold. Like, really caught up. It was quite something. Who knows how they did it? Actually, you probably do know how they did it. The answer is... absolute dedication and furious motivation. That is ultimately what will garner you the best success. There's the exasperated sigh of a man who knows that Max Verstappen has punted another man off the track. Because that is, well, if you want to be really, really blunt and succinct, that's just what happened. However, it was a pinch. It wasn't a huge pinch, but it was a pinch. And ultimately, I think F1 fans need to stop fighting, and we need to go to the British Grand Prix and all be happy again and just enjoy the racing. That's my opinion. J-Lane, though, out on the track. Magico out on the track. And Dirkleton out on the track. Not on intermediates this time, though. And if he can gain 4.8 seconds on a single lap, then, well, ladies and gentlemen, this could be quite an occasion. I am certainly looking forward to it, and so should you. A lot more time to at least analyse some of the laps on the onboard. Just see different lines people might take. Maybe some will go for a more aggressive Sector 1. Maybe brake later at the hairpin, but perhaps compromise their mid-apex if they get it slightly wrong and go a bit wide. Who knows? That is all. It all remains to be seen. Buck20's also come out of the pit lane and is preparing himself for a lap around Suzuka. For now, though, on board with the Alfa Romeo car of J-Lane. Romeo, wherefore art thou? He's on the grass. Romeo is on the grass currently, but he's managed to recover himself, and we carry on. Into turn 1 then. Full throttle beans until you get past that first apex on the inside. Can hit that second in the inside of the second apex. However, it can unsettle the car a tiny bit. Use a bit more of the curbs than you think in the S's. Just got to be careful with how much steering lock you put on. That's ultimately what pincers the car and then sends you into a sorry spin. J-Lane does well, though, and gets a purple Sector 1 as a reward. Into Degner 2. Nicely done. Clean as you like. Bit of time left on the table, but still plenty of time left to go for more. Much more aggressive into the hairpin. So much more speed carried in initially just because of how late he left it. And now using that momentum in towards the spoon corner. Past the 50-meter board, down 3 gears, heading towards the apex, not hitting the curb, just using all of the track on the exit. And that was very nicely done from the Alfa Romeo man. No DRS on this straight, which I found rather interesting, to be honest. I don't know why they haven't put one in yet, because you would think they would, but they haven't. It's a purple Sector 2 for J-Lane. Just the Casio triangle, which is not a triangle, to go through, and then the final corner, and it will be a very nicely done lap from Jimothy Lane. It's not pole position. It is not pole position. How on earth does that happen? He's 800ths pretty much off of Big Sam. Well, that's quite unbelievable. Magico's invalidated, and so he's going to go again. Hasn't really recharged the battery, and it's still red. He's invalidated his next lap as well. That is horrible. Or maybe he hasn't, it's a glitch. Dirkleton, though. Good grief. The top 3 nearly separated by just under 2 tenths. That is quite something. And it could yet get closer. Let's see what Buck20 has cooking up in the kitchen. The answer is an absolutely spicy set of affairs. He's going to hog the inside line, shortest line of attack, and it is provisional pole position with a 1 minute 28.3, cutting that gap to almost 5 tenths of a second at the top. And well, there you go. Things get interesting. Buck57 had started a lap, by the way, but went for a spot of lawn mowing. Not entirely sure why, but we carry on. The 2 heavy hitters, the 2 slobber knocker starters, though, are out on the track. And Timalele will be the first one to go all guns blazing at the Japanese Grand Prix track. Let's ride on board with the Mercedes man, then. I won't speak. You just turn up the noise and enjoy a lap of Suzuka. Well, that was quite a nice lap to watch, wasn't it? And it's pole position. A 27.7, but ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Terziak's now on a lap. The second place man at the Las Vegas Strip is now going for one better and going for the Goujons instead. Through Sector 1 split, it's a purple Sector 1 for the Ferrari man as he charges through Degner 2, hyper aggressive as he cuts through those apexes, and now into the hairpin. Nicely done on the turn-in, pinches the apex, straightens up as quickly as possible, and off he goes. Towards the spoon corner. Will he take it like a piece of cutlery or like a proper Blackout driver? And the answer is that was proper Blackout. Look at that. Absolute poetry in motion. Would you believe it? And Buck 57 has no front wing, perhaps going for a bit more of a straight line speed strategy. But he has to be careful not to hold up Terziak at this final corner, and does well to get out of the way, actually. So fair play to the Red Bull man. Terziak had 2 purple sectors, just the last sector to go. And across the line, is it pole? Oh, it is pole, but it's very slim margins. Very, very slim margins. Just over 500ths. That separate Terziak and Timalele. Again, if you begin with the letter T, what's the point? What's the point? Just give up, everybody. Actually, no, don't. I didn't. And neither should you. Magico on another outlap. This time he is going to set a valid lap time, and he's going to set a scorcher. It is written in the stars. I've decided. Just like our relationship. Terziak, though, very nicely done lap. Fine margins could decide this qualifying session. Fine margins fundamentally decided Las Vegas as well. In many respects. I was going to say you can't get much more fine in a margin than that, but actually you can get more fine of a margin. You can get, well, you can get 54 thousandths finer for margin. And so there you go. But let's see what Mr. Magico is doing. Watch him like a hawk. Gets you a restraining order, but not this time. Not this time. They haven't caught me yet. Through Degner 2, under Amazon Web Services, which means its delivery is going to be shocking. But Magico's delivery certainly is not shocking. That was a great amount of speed taken mid-apex and using all of the track on the exit. Powering through that exit curve, hugging the inside, shortest line of attack as he heads into the spoon curve. Pinches in the apex, and that's a very nice line. That is a very nice line. Okay, Magico, I see your game. I like that very much. Whilst Magico is on a charge, Ronaldo has a free kick. That's fun, isn't it? Through, it's a purple sector 2 for Magico. What on earth is going on? This is unbelievable. Through the Casio triangle, it's a valid lap time. Magico hugs the inside, DRS open, and it's P6. But it's so close to even more. And with Dirkleton already retiring out of this qualifying session, it can be no lower than P8 on the grid. So well done, sir. A purple sector 2 as well, I'll tell you what. I will tell you what, that is admirable. I can almost cry with joy. Absolutely brilliant. Well, Terziak deciding there's no more to be done in this qualifying session. And Timalele cutting it very fine if he wants to get round in time. He's only got a minute and a half, which is effectively full pace to the finish line in order to start his final lap. So I don't think he's calculated this entirely correctly unless he cuts every corner in existence, which in Blackout is not allowed. But I don't know. I don't know. Got my eyes on him now. I could expose him today. It could happen. Buck 57 and Stark are on flying laps. Meanwhile, I'm watching them with great anticipation just to see what happens. As well, Tim is pushing a little bit at least. I think he still will actually make it. I mean, you have to push a tiny bit, but how on earth do you judge what 7 seconds slower is? You can't really chance it. Buck 57 going through the hairpin. Let's ride a wall with him for the time being. Look at him go. Hugging the inside. Once again, it's always about finding little cuts of time here and there. Slicing to the inside, just making the line as narrow and as short as possible in order to cut thousands, if not hundredths of a second off your time. It can all add up, though, across a lap. Timalele will get across the line with 10 seconds to spare for a final push for pole position. Terziak's qualifying session is done and dusted. He will take no further part, and the gauntlet of a 1 minute 27.743 is what Tim needs to beat. Buck 57 gets into the 27s, though. Great little lap there. 27.9, that was very, very close to absolute stardom. Stark across the line and no time set. I can only assume he invalidated his lap, but that's royally confused me. Big Swimmer's on a lap, though. Let's see what he's up to. Timalele, what's going on with him? It's a purple sector 1. That's what's going on with him. Could yet be pole position for the Mercedes man. As Big Swimmer, the AlphaTauri assassin, through 130R into the Casio knot triangle, choosing not to cut that first curve at all, which is a very bold manoeuvre. Can't see why, because more often than not, you should cut that to death. Across the line, it is a vast improvement, but you got J-Lane and Tim behind him on flying laps. J-Lane could yet be picking up a bit of a toe, as Buck 20 extends that margin a tiny bit, but can't beat his Buck counterpart. Timalele through the Casio triangle. He's pushed like a stabbed rat, and narrowest line of attack. It is pole position, and it's not even close. A 1 minute 27.355. Just under 4 attempts. It's the ultimate gap. J-Lane can't improve on his time. It's invalidated at the Casio triangle anyway. I assume that's where it was invalidated. But there you are. That is all the script writers had time for in this qualifying session. And it is Timalele on pole once again in Season 16. And that is quite a statement. Maybe a bit less of a statement had Terziak gone out for another lap, but it could all be tactical here. Let's just remember that. It could all be tactical. An extra set of softs. Who knows? There's still all to play for, and still a long old race to go. But Timalele has put himself very much on the front foot because it's pole position for the Japanese Grand Prix. Terziak's first lap was more than good enough to secure P2, and on the front row, the Bucks bringing the fizz and sharing the second row of the grid. Big Swimmer and J-Lane 5th and 6th, Magico 7th, Dirkleton in 8th, and Stark rounds out our 9-strong lineup. Wake up, everyone. It's race day. Yeah, you heard me. It's race time, and it's cloudy. With a chance of meatballs. Or maybe in Japan, because there's technically a law saying in Japan you technically can't be obese. So how do sumo wrestlers get away with it? How have they not all been imprisoned? That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. Also, that Ferris wheel's going a bit fast on the right. Gonna give a child concussion at that speed. If not, chronic whiplash. I don't know which is worse. I'd say the whiplash, personally. It's a charter for fraudsters. Look at it go. That's fast. Even the London Eye can't see speeds that fast. Anyway, the Paddock Club, you can't see if they're having a great time because their windows have been blacked out. Or maybe they are having a good time, if you know what I'm saying. But here we are, on the pit, and looking in the pit lane, waiting for the race to go. And you can see the rear wing of an Aston Martin on the right-hand side. Just between a flight case and the barrier. You can see the Alfa... I've done it again. I've actually done it again. I'm such a moron. Doesn't matter, we can ignore it because it's Japan time. Lights out, and away we go, and it's a very, very good start for Timalele. Scorches away on the soft, and Buck 57 is going to try and do the same. Round the outside of turn 1, bit of contact made. Terziak will aggressively get the shoulders and the elbows out, all of the limbs as he remains in P2. Buck 20 displaces his counterpart, moves up into P3. Buck 57 into P4. But Big Sam in P5. Magico up to 6th. 2 positions gained already. I was going to say the back of the rear wing on the... Oh, no! J-Lane spears off. Massive crash into the wall. Him and Dirkleton. Front wing's gone, and that's an immediate safety car for the 2 of them. Both absolutely harpooned off to the right-hand side into the wall. Unbelievably. No huge damage. Just front wings that have come off, and it's another 35% race. So that gets very spicy, and meanwhile, while all this is happening, there is smoke on the pitch. Well, we did tell Ronaldinho in his cigar campaign to keep out of the Euros tournament. Unfortunately, the man is such a sellout, he couldn't help smonking up the area. And also slagging off his national team for money. What a role model. So, Voldemort's going to have some friends. Dirkleton and J-Lane are going to have to go to the pit lane. And do they take 130R flat? Madmen. You absolutely love to see it, though. Stark will immediately inherit 2 positions and say, thank you very much, people. I will absolutely take that. That is a cracking piece of fortune. Sponsor. Pit lane, no, Timalele's already in. The pole sitter already in, and he's on the hard tyres. And could well try and go to the end. Dirkleton and J-Lane into the pits as well. And Stark deciding to take full advantage of this particular eventuality. Dirkleton, I forgot to mention, had a 5 seconds time penalty for the severe collision with J-Lane. And, well, that is a clip I'm certainly going to have to check out. I'm sure J-Lane will send it across. And was that Stark having a front wing changed as well? Damn, so I guess Stark was caught up in something at the start. No idea what. Again, hopefully all will be revealed at the end. I saw the predominant factor of things, which is that J-Lane and Dirkleton absolutely launched off to the right-hand side. And Stark's letting Dirkleton through. Now, that's very interesting. That is very interesting. Whether that's an apology for something that happened earlier, or whether he just wants to give himself more of a challenge and humiliate the competition. Well, who knows? Who knows what the narrative is behind that? We'll have to find out. I will get the inside scoop. I will not be stopped. I will be like Rachel Brooks and invade your personal life. I will do that. I didn't like Rachel Brooks' conduct with Lando Norris and Verstappen. She was really bad with both of them. Just immediately going for the jugular at their friendship. Yes, it was racing. Yes, it's Formula 1. But, like, lads, she always... I feel like she's done this multiple times and people don't talk about it. But she always tries to scoop in with really, really, really mean questions. Really nasty material. But is that just me? I don't know. Feel free to say I'm wrong. You can leave your opinion in the Twitch chat and I won't read it. Lap number 2. Nearly on to lap number 3. Of the Japanese Grand Prix, and this is your order. Terziak inherits the lead because Timalele pit at the end of lap number 1. Buck 20 in 2nd, Buck 57 in 3rd. Big Swimmer in 4th, Magico, my husband, in 5th. Timalele in 6th, J-Lane in 7th. Stark was in 9th and still remains 9th, as Dirkleton, well, moved up to 7th briefly. That was a confusing moment. However, that can all be put to bed now. It's a huge cloud of smoke on the pitch for Portugal versus Slovenia. Good grief. What on earth's happened there? 65. It feels like the slowest game of football I've ever watched in my life. In my peripheral vision. I've hardly been watching it, to be honest with you. I'm glad I haven't because it's been a bore fest, so I haven't missed anything. So that's the good thing. And I'm also glad because I'd rather be doing nothing else than commentating. Which means I wouldn't rather do anything but commentate. So I got that one right. That's good. So Blackout last season. Let me talk you through what happened at this race properly last time out. We're up to 40 followers, by the way. Thanks, everyone. That's pretty cool. A nice round number. Honestly, thank you all. I'm extremely grateful. It's not something I really mention very often, but thank you for following and thank you for supporting all the time. It's very, very kind of you. And I don't ever take it for granted. I absolutely don't ever take it for granted. Decagon said, sounds like we need a retirement. We might well need a retirement. F1 scriptwriters figured out that absolute domination is not good for ratings. Quite right. Would you like to be the guy who had to arrest 200 kilos mountain of a man? Fair point. Fair point. Yes. Safety car surely in, and it is in at the end of this lap. Terziak will control the pace. Let's head on board with Mr. Buck 20 and see what cooks in the McLaren camp. Again, it feels like real life. Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull. Then a Visa Cash App MasterCard contactless Apple Pay RB car. And how early will Terziak, or how late will Terziak pull the trigger? The answer is right now, and we are back racing at the Japanese Grand Prix. And Buck 57's had an absolutely humongously good restart as he heads immediately down the inside of Buck 20. Great momentum, though, from Mr. 20 as he holds it round. The superior momentum keeps P2. That was quality stuff there between the two Bucks. Certainly bringing the fizz, and it might sound like a cliche, and it is, but it's a good cliche because they certainly are. Big Swimmer licking his lips at all of this. So are Magico and Tim Alele, the two Mercedes drivers. Could be all over this very shortly. Darting out from underneath the slipstream of his teammate, Tim Alele thinking, well, I've got the new tyres, surely I've got the pace, and Magico agrees. Not a great exit at the end of Degna 2, although I'm sure that was intentional. And now Tim, on the fresh tyres, can get a move on. Buck 57 makes a tap with Barry R. Big Sam has a bit of a swapper of his own. Tim Alele, just like that, makes 3 positions up in 3 corners, and he says, thank you very much. That is mighty scrumptious pie you've delivered in my direction. Fantastic. Through the Casio triangle, Big Sam was nipping at the heels of Tim Alele. Just then, Terziak, fastest lap of the race, courtesy of the fact it's the first proper lap of racing we've done. So good on him. For now, he has those 3 points in his grasp. Magico, though, has got past Big Sam. Oh, hello. Here we go. Let my husband cook into P4. Mercedes again, next door neighbours on the track. And again, with them having the only team with 2 cars fighting up at the front, well, it can garner all of the big points this weekend. There's no doubt about that. As long as they remain consistent, as long as they keep their nose clean. They have every reason to believe they can come out with something big here. Absolutely every reason. Tim Alele's got to get up the road. Yes, he's made that pit stop, but another safety car changes the complexion of things completely. If he chooses to stay out and remain on the older tyres, and then the 2 ahead of him decide to cook up a little bit of a safety car pit stop strategy, then it will all be completely futile, all of his efforts. So he's got to make the most of it now while he can. Push like nothing, but he's not really pushing. Terziak and Buck 20 are pushing for life nor money. Through the Casio triangle again, could be another fastest lap. Cooking up here for the Flying Scotsman. Chugging his way along across the line. Is it a fastest lap? No, it isn't. No, it is not. DRS enabled, though. And this could, well, this is where things could get spicy. J-Lane's on the move, though. Doesn't need DRS to get past Big Sam. Through goes the Alfa Romeo driver. Second place of the cars that have pitted in this race. Provisional P2 once everyone peels into the pits. However, once again, safety cars could have a say yet in this race, and Portugal have yet another free kick. And of course, Mr. Ronaldo is on it. No idea what stadium they're playing at, but it looks absolutely brilliant. Fair play. Fair play, Germany. You are cooking up. A puff of the chest, a deep breath out, a big strike, and it's over the bar again. It's not far off, but it is over the bar. Still 0-0, Portugal, Slovenia. Timalele is now making it count. Buck 20, he's dropped like a stone. He's right off the back of Terziak. Now has the Mercedes man, who's going to make him very nervous indeed. Jaylen might have overtaken Big Sam without DRS, but Swimmer is keeping up nicely. Very nicely, actually, as a matter of fact. Although Jaylen has crept into DRS range of my husband, and that means he has a little bit of a defensive card he's pulled out there in this little game of rectangular chess. However, chess is made into a card game, who knows? But DRS flap does open up for Jaylen. However, as you can see, the light is flashing. Big Sam will see this and is gaining all the time in the slipstream, but nothing doing. Has to settle in behind in the wheel tracks once again. Oh no! Jaylen spins, and that will put pay to all of that work that was done before. And optimism turns into pessimism. He's sliding through on the grass. And it's a spot of lawn mowing for the Alfa Romeo man. And what was looking so positive has been put into insignificance. And the chance of big, big points might well have gone a-begging. Tim, though, is looking very racy. Heading in towards the hairpin. Thought he could have done something there. Not choosing to try and really push the limits. Try and force the opponent ahead to defend the inside. Then go for that racing line. Have the superior momentum. Make an easy move. Bish, bash, bosh. Bob is not your uncle. Why is that a phrase? But the point is he'd have been up into P2. But then could have got exposed by DRS. It's all things you have to think about here. It's all mind games. Almost halfway through this Japanese Grand Prix race. As Terziak heading through the Casio Triangle, soon followed by Buck 20 and Timalele. Buck 20, though, has a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings and decides enough is enough in memory of Gunther Steiner. He's not dead, he's just not on the grid anymore. But Timalele has a helping hand of DRS, and that will help him nicely in his crusade for top honours in this race. However, it's all getting spicy behind. Big Sam has 1, 2, 3 cars in very close proximity, one of which is Dirkleton, and he's made contact. Start goes through, and Buck 57 goes through. Into P5 and 6 respectively. The front left to rear right contact sends Dirkleton slightly off kilter, and it has massive consequences. I just looked over at the TV screen at the Slovenian man's hat, and I thought he was wearing Crash Bandicoot on his head. That was really weird. I don't want to see that again. Big Sam with time penalties. Stark's gone down the inside and through. Buck 57 tried to go around the outside and through. He hasn't done that, but Stark's absolutely romping away. And Buck 57 says, "Thank you, sir," as he moves easily up into P5. Big Sam not choosing to fight this hugely. He's on the older tyres, and now Dirkleton has a second stab at Samuel in Suzuka. All the S's. Sublime. Under the Aramco sponsorship, who conveniently sponsor Aston Martin.
Oh, wait, it is a fix.
I thought Dirkleton could have gone for an absolutely heinous dive, starting on the outside and switching to the inside. That would have been very tasty indeed, but no. Long way to go in this race still. No need for desperation. Buck 57, though, says time is of the essence. And through he goes. Into P4. DRS providing the ultimate assistance. And he can use those softs now to great effect. But for how much longer will those softs last? I doubt it's going to be for that long. Immediately through the S's, he's a sitting duck. That's just how much more pace the hard tyres have. The offset is ridiculous, and the crossover is catastrophic in the case of Buck 57 in the Red Bull. Through Degner 1, into Degner 2. These two now out of DRS of Big Sam, which makes Dirkleton a very happy man indeed. Speaking of happy men, where's Pathy, man? I miss him. I miss a lot of drivers on the grid, actually. Please come back. And if we move on to F124 next week, who knows? Maybe the uptake will be humongous. Dirkleton, no, might go for a move into the spoon curve, and he has gone for the move down the inside. Time of the essence once again, not waiting around, and through into P6 goes the Aston Martin driver on the fresher hard tyres. Big Sam, though, will gain DRS, might even go for a move into 130R, is going for a move into 130R. That almost got very, very spicy. Fainting to the inside of the Casio triangle. No opportunity presenting itself. But still more yet to come. DRS open for Big Swimmer. Does he think about making a move? No, he sits in. Oh my goodness me, definitely thought about it at the last. Just trying to scaremonger Dirkleton out of the way. Fair enough, you've got to try it. Got to do what you got to do. In this case, though, it has not paid off. And he will remain in P7. Magico was remaining comfortable in P3, but not for long. Buck 57 and Stark, the new tyres brigade, are on their way. They've been reeling in Magico, engulfing the gap ahead of them, and now it's going to result in a DRS battle. The warfare of wings, in the case of Red Bull, because they apparently give you wings. I can attest to the fact, having drunk a Red Bull myself, I have not magically started flying. Pepe's been fouled, and now he's changed religion. You can guess probably what that meant. Buck 57's already passed Magico. Good grief. Although Magico maybe being a bit tactical, going for that DRS himself. Who knows? Actually, it's because Buck 57 heads into the pits. That was quite some move, despite coming into the pit lane. Reminds me of Alonso in 2005. Went round the outside of Michael Schumacher at 130R, and then had to pit anyway. But it was just a statement of intent. And it was absolutely gorgeous. The new tyres are paying off handsomely now, though. Timalele gaining time constantly, hand over fist. As Buck 20 has another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Buck 57 exits the track on new mediums, plumb last. Lap number 11 of the Japanese Grand Prix then. Terziak leads, Timalele in P2. I've got hiccups. How on earth have I got hiccups? I'll actually neck a goose. Don't do it. My threats are serious. Remember the Chinese Grand Prix in seasons past? Yeah, I was serious. Although I got a very nice meal out of it. Buck 57 round the outside. That's very tasty indeed. And you know what? He's made it work. That was absolutely delightful. I just hiccuped again. BRB, I'm going to neck a goose. Not for long. J-Lay down the inside of the spoon curve. But thinks better of it. But spins. And there might well have been contact. And however minuscule of a contact there is at a spoon curve, it can just still have devastating consequences. Right, goose getting necked. That goose is now on the boil. I still have hiccups, by the way. Hasn't changed a thing. Oh my god. Oh no, I've knocked over everything. Doesn't really matter. What does matter is Magico and Big Sam pulled the trigger and peeled into pit row. And Buck 57, despite that little undercut, the battling with J-Lane means he remains only a few tenths ahead of Mr. Magico. And not only that, Mr. Magico is on soft tyres. That's another goose that's getting necked. I'm counting them up now. Timalele going for it on the track, though. Almost in DRS. So much shambles, even the commentary desk is having a car crash moment. Right, that's a third goose that's getting necked. They are accumulating very quickly. That is indeed what's happening. It's all completely off the boil. That's a fourth goose that's getting necked. That was a silent hiccup that time. Make no mistake about it. It's getting necked. Bloody hell. Terziak won't actually let the battle ensue on the track. He peels into the pits, and Timalele is going to turn into Lord Smug. And that's the fifth goose getting necked. With an 8.1 second advantage. And you would have to say, it seems like a foregone conclusion from here. Big Sam, though, can you think about making a move into the Casio Triangle? Certainly looked punchy and promising, but nothing doing. DRS, though, easily lets him breeze past. I'm trying to cure my hiccups, if you're wondering why I'm so silent. I do apologise. It's not been my finest week. Hay fever is ruining me to no end. And as apparently is Donald Duck. Because it feels like he's stuck in my throat. Like that. There's a lot of geese going on. I'm going to be a beach ball next week with the amount of geese I've got to scoff. Big Sam with a purple sector 1. He could have the fastest lap. Let him cook. Terziak, though, has to be a man on a mission. Buck 20 with that sizable undercut actually gets past him. However, we do have to realise not only how old Buck 20's tyres are. This is just too many geese now. This is ridiculous. Terziak, though, on the soft tyres. And Buck 20, good grief. This is not happening for me. Oh, my God. Buck 20, though, on significantly older tyres. Is he on softs? What a madman. And unfortunately, madness results in, well, only one thing. And that is getting eviscerated. As Terziak breezes his way through. My husband has the fastest lap. And with DRS, he's going to breeze past Buck 57. Oh, no. Big Sam's taking it off him. J-Lane's now 5 seconds back. That will happen very quickly. And while things settle down, at least for a tiny bit, I'll let you watch Magico and Buck 57 as that's the closest battle on the track currently. But while they cook up, I'm going to try and sort out my hiccups. So I am going to jump out of my ground floor. I will be right back. Hello, I'm back. And I decided I don't really care about what happens with my hiccups anymore. I've stopped caring. Completely, actually. Oh, by the way, Dirkleton's in a podium position. I'm actually going to rage in a minute. Terziak, though, is, well, the fairy tale can only last for so long. Or can it? Buck 20 having a little spin moment. And I thought that was going to get very interesting. It did not. It did not. And so we carry on. Terziak, though, right on the back of Dirkleton. Comparatively riding a rocket ship there. Dirkleton not fighting it at all. Allows Terziak around the outside. And he will gain at least a bit of DRS assistance in his favour, but it will only do so much for him on tyres that are ancient by comparison, although he's going to the inside. You can't fault him for trying, because he has certainly tried. But Terziak easily through. It's a P3. And now has to go on the hunt for P2, but there's less than 4 tours of the Japanese Grand Prix circuit to go. So if he wants to get that P2, he's got to get on with it. Another yellow flag. Dirkleton had a bit of a moment into Degner, and it's a much bigger moment into Degner too. Going for the alternative lines, and the front wing end plate is gone. And what could have been such a fairy tale race for Aston Martin has gone down the toilet. Absolutely down the toilet. You cannot... Honestly, I feel for him. I feel for him. He was in a podium position for a long time. And I've got hiccups again now because of how upset I am. Do you know what? I said Terziak should get a move on. He's taken 4 seconds down to 2.5. He's absolutely flying. Remember, Stark and Timalele, they had their tyres on during that safety car period. Terziak had his tyres on, and they're, well, spring chickens. So what was 4 seconds has been cut almost in half. Oh my god. Meanwhile, Buck 57 got past Magico, and now what was a battle for P5 on the track between these two now turns into a battle for P4 on the track. And that is very spicy. On about the same age of tyres, Magico on the softs though, and Buck 57 on the mediums. Still plenty that could happen. As J-Lane moves past Dirkleton because Dirkleton was in the pit lane. Buck 20 on 2-lap-old softs could be the next man to make an overtake. Although Terziak rather attempting to steal that mantle. I've still got hiccups. I'm powering through it. As a true professional, would probably not do because they'd actually just try and get rid of their hiccups instead. But I didn't choose to do... Oh, I tried, but it didn't happen, so... We're going to carry on. We're going to keep powering on, and now that gap is already under a second, and DRS is in the hands of Terziak, and P2 almost in his clutches. Pit onto the soft tyres. Stark will still come away from a podium in this race, but you have to feel for him as they enter now onto lap number 18 of the Japanese Grand Prix. Haven't shown anything of Timalele, so here he is. 11.3 seconds the gap. And you have to say, it's been absolutely peerless from him. It's been absolutely perfect from minute one. Pole position in qualifying, made the call to get into the pits, kept his nose clean, and has simply driven away from the rest of the field since then. Yes, maybe slightly lucky with the safety car, but he was opportunistic, and opportunism can win you races. A lack of it, though, could still get you P2, unbelievably. J-Lane pulls the trigger and gets into the pits himself. Maybe go for a fastest lap attempt, since he is absolutely assured, and well, it's certain that he will get points. So he might as well try. He might as well give it everything. Maybe an extra 3 points can fall into his favour. 4 tenths is the gap between Stark and J-Lane. Not J-Lane, I'm so sorry. It's between Stark and Terziak. And, well, Stark's not even fighting it. Terziak breezes through into P2, but there's still a DRS zone to go. It's got to be a good exit from the Ferrari man. How much battery does he have to play with? The answer is still a decent chunk. Stark has more of it, though, and he's deploying it all the way down the straight, but it's not enough. Terziak does well to counter. Screw hiccups, I want to die. But Terziak through into P2. And he'll probably feel hard done by in terms of that luck didn't fall on his favour or let the pendulum swing his way. But Even so, he's still going to come out of this weekend with 2 P2s and a P4 in the sprint, and I think as the championship leader still. So there is still consolation to be had from this particular race. But this man, what can you say about this man? Timalele, take a bow. He's going to make it 2 wins from 2. And what a week he's had. What a week. The battle behind is not yet done. I feel like Terziak's just bringing it to the end, though. Could have pushed away, but chose to just play it safe. Tim didn't play it safe. Took the opportunity when it presented itself. Has driven absolutely flawlessly. And it's 2 wins on the trot for Timalele. He wins the Japanese Grand Prix. Terziak will be next to cross the line. It's Mr. Consistent, albeit in P2. Through he comes, and that will go on their Instagram account. Stock in P3, less than a tenth separate them. You always felt like Terziak had it under control, though, on the significantly fresher tyres. Buck 57 will claim P4. My husband in 5th. Well done, sir. Big Swimmer will be next. Across the line, out of the final corner, and takes P6 home for AlphaTauri. Buck 20 then will cut the final corner. It's another 3-second time penalty, but for Flair, I'll give him a 5 out of 10. It's still P7 on the road, but Dirkelson will soon come across the line to claim that P7 for himself. Had it not been for the front wing damage, it could have been so much more, but still good points for the Aston Martin driver. J-Lane, the final driver to cross the line. Maybe got fastest lap, I don't actually know. Across the line, I don't think he did. But either way, it's still good points for him. It's good points for everyone. Who says Blackout isn't a charitable foundation? Honestly. Starker's driver of the day from P9 to a podium position. You almost have to agree with that. I say almost because you might have a different opinion. I say he drove pretty well, personally. Timalele, you can't ignore the 2 wins on the bounce. You absolutely cannot. And so, on the podium we go. Not only the King of Vegas, but the ultimate samurai of Suzuka. Looks at the trophy, says, yeah, I've got plenty of those. Nice one. The team are ecstatic. Tim's not exactly hugely enthralled, but sprays to 7-up free, as do all of the competitors. And there concludes another week of the Blackout Racing League. They clink their bottles of sweet nothing, and so that will do it. In fact, it was Terziak that got fastest lap. Good grief. Terziak with fastest lap. He will gain the extra 3 points for getting second place as well. That is great news for him. Timalele, though, 2 wins on the trot. And 2 wins this week, so well done to him. Stark in P3, great job from the Williams man. Buck 57 in 4th, Magico 5th, Big Sam in 6th, Dirkelton in 7th with Buck 20 and J-Lane rounding out your finishing order in... That was hiccup for Suzuka. Made up my own language at this point. So there we are. The Blackout Racing League. More entertaining than European international football. Because it finished 0-0 between Portugal and Slovenia. How bad are Portugal should be decimating Slovenia. No offence, lads. This is outrageous. This is criminal. Anyway, there we go. Cheers, good shouting, mate. Anytime, Decagon. Anytime. It's a pleasure as always. Whiplash claim incoming, says J-Lane. Still plenty of battling off the track, even in the whiplash department. So there you are. Magico! Oh, bless you, man. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Raiding with a party of 3. Hello, everybody, and welcome along. Albeit not for a huge amount of time, because I've got horrendous hiccups. And... I'm going through it, let's put it that way. I will go through clips of, where was it? Vegas and Suzuka. I'll go through clips of them next week before the races begin. And we might well be on F124. Who knows? That'll be interesting. It's also good fun because I am off work as of the end of this week. I will be free to do many commentary things and have more hiccups. That's the crucial thing. But I'll be free to do many pieces of commentary, which is great fun. Blackout related, St Albans Football Club related, and in theory, hopefully, knock on wood, many more besides. I'm sure there will be, and I'll have great fun doing it. But there we are. How to sum up this week then. Timalele is tremendous. That's how you sum up this week. 2 wins on the bounce in the main events. So a huge congratulations to him. A great congratulations to all the drivers, actually. All of them finished that Japanese Grand Prix. I thought almost certainly J-Lane and Dirkleton would have kamikazed their way into barrier and would have been out of the race in no time. But apparently not. Apparently not. They did manage to stay in, so good for them. And then, well, things sort of calmed down from there, but there was good racing all the way through this week, and I'm very happy. I don't have much more to say other than that. I'm just gonna get out of here and make sure my hiccups dissipate very soon. I'm sorry I'm ending it sort of abruptly, but I hate hiccups, and it's a commentator's worst nightmare. Sorry that it's been a little bit of a subdued commentary. It feels like it's been subdued. I've powered through it as much as possible. Oh my god, I'm going to jump out of my ground floor. And that is actually a threat. Look, I've powered through it as best I can. I'm sorry if it was a little bit lackluster. Oh my god, I'm sorry if it was a bit lackluster. But I powered through it. I gave it a good go. And I still think we had a great time. And that's the main thing. Vegas had its drama. Definitely had its drama. Sprint King, big swimmer. Great job from him. What an absolute hero. And then in the main event, my husband got a podium, but it was Timalele, his teammate, that took top honours. Terziak thought he had it, but at the last, it was just snatched away from him. Then at the Japanese Grand Prix, again, maybe if there was another safety car, the narrative would have changed, but Timalele took the opportunities, and that is ultimately what won him. 2 races this week. The full complement of points in the main events for the German driver in the Mercedes. The double German combination is lethal. And that could be a very, very bad setup. So let's move on. Well, what is there to say other than thank you ever so much for watching. Every single one of you. My hiccups, I will actually just slice them. Listen, thank you everybody. It's a mighty great time I have commentating, and a huge thank you to Blackout for allowing me to do it week on week. I wouldn't have my Monday night any other way, even with hiccups. I would not have it any other way. It's an honour and a privilege, and I owe them so much. Immensely grateful to every single one of them. They're a great bunch of people. To Magico for making these graphics. Go and follow him if you haven't already. He's a fantastic gentleman. J-Lane has uploaded many videos of Blackout's previous season on his channel, JLan3 on YouTube. Go and subscribe, go and watch them. They are a great time. They're an absolutely great time. But there you have it. European football might be neutered and nullified. Blackout certainly isn't. It's a balmy affair, full of scorching battles, scintillating racecraft, and overall, it's an absolutely phenomenal time. If you haven't already, follow my Twitch, also subscribe to my YouTube, follow my socials. I love every single one of you. Have a great night, and I will see you next time. Oh yeah, one other thing, Blackout returns next week. I forgot to mention that, didn't I? Blackout returns next week, same time next week, here on my channel, 8 o'clock. We might be on F124, and that'll be very interesting, and hopefully even more Blackout drivers that will contend for the grand prize. Terziak comes out of this week as championship leader. Timalele, though, very much keeping him honest. Once again, I feel like I sort of cut it short there because I wanted to get it on the beat drop. I don't know if I care anymore. All I can say once again, though, is a huge thank you to every single one of you watching. Thank you to Magico for the raid. Thank you to all of Blackout for being amazing human beings. You can catch this VOD on my YouTube channel, and there's loads of other things on there. If you go to my commentary playlist, at KarlsCars, go and subscribe. The commentary playlist contains every single Blackout I've ever commentated. So if you want to catch up on all things Blackout, particularly on F123, because I did most of F123, which is crazy. I've been commentating for them for over a year now. Just absolutely bonkers. But that's how much I love doing it. And like I say, piss. Like I say, I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you for watching. Have a great night. And I'll see you soon.